Good morning, everybody. I'll be with you in just a moment. All right, everybody, welcome. August 10th, 2023. Let's get this show started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world, and welcome to DYOR Live. It is August 10th, 2023, and once again, this year is ripping by. Always bringing you good content here on the DYOR Media Network. Sorry, my computer gives me a message every time I start this thing, and I forget to ignore it. Anyway, we got a good show for you today. As usual, you've got me on the microphone here, talking about all the news of the day and if we have a guest or not. And today we do have a guest. But first, before we get to our guests, we always want to hear from Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. So he'll be on in just a minute. And then we'll have Anton Golub from Swiss Asset DAO. I know Anton's this will be the third time he's been on the show here. Once talking about doing business in different parts of the world, and once about Swiss Asset DAO. But this time, we want to bring him back. We're doing a whole series on real-world asset things, and so I thought it would be good to have him come back on the show fairly regularly to give an update on it, because as far as we can tell, it's going to be the first of its kind, completely legal. In let's see, it's going to be in Wyoming? No, let's see, I can't remember where it's going to be. Alabama? No, Tennessee? No, but like the name says, Swiss Asset DAO is going to be legal in Switzerland and then take over the world from there. So we'll have more from Anton about that soon enough. But like I always like to say when I start my shows, it's been a crazy week. There's just always crazy stuff going on in crypto and the digital asset world. Major announcements. The big announcement this week was PayPal coming into the market. We did a show yesterday about that and doing their stable coin. And Twitter was afire. I love using that phrase, afire with it, because they pecked through their contract and said, "Oh, they can steal your money, they can freeze your account and wipe your assets out and stuff like that." And as I summarized yesterday, PayPal never said that they are entering the DeFi world. They just said they are issuing a stable coin that's totally under their control. And for the people freaking out on Twitter about that, yes, they can take your money just like your bank can take your money. It's no different. They get a court order, they can take your money. And plus, with, I don't know how many of you listening have multiple wallets littered with, 5 cents left in them, 10 cents, $1, or if it's a wallet based on Ethereum and you still got $40 in it and you can't get it out. PayPal doesn't want to do that. They want to be able to close out their accounts cleanly, like a bank does, and not leave change and dust all over the place, and thus have to maintain those reserves for things that they'll never be able to get back. So that was the big news in that. I wanted to address what Twitter was talking about, that type of stuff. But enough of me talking. Pedro, are you there for us? Pedro Garcia.
I am here.
To Seattle, I think, where you are this week. I don't know.
Yes.
Good morning,
Can you
Pedro.
hear me? Good morning. How you doing, brother?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry, just had to turn you on there.
It happens. Hey, can you guys hear me?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How things going?
Good morning. Good. It is. It is a good morning. I've been messing around with just like herbs and spices. I had a friend of mine looks like young as a baby's booty, man. Actually, that sounds really weird. It just looks young. He's just like, I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? But what I'm saying though is that he looks really young, and so he uses a lot of spices. And I was talking to him about it. He goes, dude, these are the gem to life. This is what balances everything. So we started talking, and I said, what is that red stuff? It smells like beets and bunches. It smells really good. He goes, it is beets. And so he tells me about how it's like beets, and then it's bee pollen, local bee pollen with like orange slices, not orange slices, orange organic orange like crumbles. It's just like the peel, or organic orange peel is what it is.
Yeah.
And so he put it all together, and I go, what's it good for? He goes, everything. This thing is great for everything. So I said, all right. So I started using it, man. I can't believe, man. And you make it yourself.
You can sleep with only 2 hours sleep a night, and you're ready to go back on the charts.
I wish, man, that'd be awesome. But it was, man, the blood flow, the mental alertness, the ability to be able to. I was just like, wow, it's just amazing. Anyways, so I'm kind of hyped up on this, going, yeah, man, this is awesome. Ready to look at the chart. So let's jump into the charts here.
What's going on in the market?
So, like I said, this week we did bounce off of this support level on the weekly. We're moving up. We did hit that 50-period moving average, and we're kind of ping-ponging here up in this 30,000 mark. So we did shoot up, hit the 30,000, and now it's just kind of going sideways here. So right now it depends. I would have thought with the jobless claims report that this would have reacted to this, and we would have seen more of a sell-off. But the reality is, it's just Bitcoin's just kind of going sideways here. Like I said, in this range, the range is between 30,000 and around that 28,000 area here. So we'll see which way it wants to go. It's coming back to get sellers, and looks like it kind of wants to keep going down. So we'll see what happens there. So that's what's going to happen. I do see us over in the next week at least come down and tap this 28,000 mark area here, just simply because it's a tap-a-roo. What was that, Billy Madison? No.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore, yes.
Tap it in. Just tap it in.
Tap it in. Tap. Price is wrong, Bob. So this is like I said, this part's always a little difficult when you're in this sideways pattern in between supply and demand without really a clear direction. Yes, we are moving up, but we are hitting support we're hitting resistance, and that definitely is keeping us at these levels of that 31,000 area. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, you were talking about it going up a little bit, and it seemed to go up a little bit and grab some liquidity out of the market. And starting the trend back down. Is that honestly I can't recall what you were discussing yesterday, other than the long-term idea of it coming down.
Yeah, that's exactly, because it did go up. It hit the resistance of that 30,000 mark, like I said, and then we started to see the sell-off come in right here. So I do see us pushing down to these lower levels here. They came up basically to get liquidity, which is for the shorts, and then are looking just to sell it off. You can always check the shorts within Bitcoin. Unlike with traditional markets, the beautiful part is that you can actually go and see if people are actually short or long the market. And what's beautiful is you can definitely see that they did push it up. And as you can see into this level where they're looking to establish their shorts a little bit more. So in the last few days, you can see that shorts are picking up, and even though we're going sideways in the market here. So that's why I keep saying, yeah, I mean, I think this part that's so beautiful is you're seeing like shorts picking up. It's not beautiful, but it's just and traditional markets, I can't sit there and see. It's like it's not. I
Right.
can't sit there and go, are we dominant? Sure, we got to look to the options market to see that, right? And even then, that's not really a complete clear designation of shorts.
Right. All right. Well, so sorry about that. I was distracted by a message here real quick. The general idea for the day traders that they have a million tools like yourself that they use to look at the markets and all that. But for the noobs out there and the more inexperienced people that are not doing this full time, that are generally, as I say, my viewers, the technical analysis guys are over watching Crypto Lifer or somebody else out there. What's the market when people close up their positions on Friday? What are the charts telling you for how it's going to end up? A little lower or a little higher?
I do see it's coming down to these levels here, which is the 28,000 mark. We should see this come back down, continue down. We pretty much shot through the whole entire day yesterday. We went up, then came back down, and then we kind of settled. But we took up about 70% of that green candle there. And that green candle primarily put a seller wick up here, which then designates for us to most likely come back down into this 30 or this 28,000-ish on Friday and Saturday is what we should be seeing in the market down at these levels.
All right.
So, yep.
All right, Pedro. Thanks for the quick Cinco de Pedro, 5 minutes of Pedro's analysis there. Got a little bit more than that, as we always do, but that's good. Pedro, we'll come back to you during our guest appearance in the question and answer session. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this time also to mention my sponsor, the sponsor of my shows here, is always Auditchain. I want to thank Auditchain, as I say, sponsoring the original content of the DYOR Media Network. At this show, Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked, and some of the other things that I'm working on too. So a great big shout out to Jason Myers and Auditchain. And if you don't really know what Auditchain is, well, you're gonna get to listen to me plug them right now.
Most of you know that crypto exchanges have taken a beating about transparency, and many groups out there are trying to solve that. But Auditchain has already done that. Auditchain's protocols and network of validators can mathematically prove that a company's entire financial state, not just proof of reserves, but a proof of state, and whether or not that company is providing accurate reporting and information to the respective government regulators and to the public. Seriously, you and I can check crypto companies and traditional companies' financial reports for transparency and accuracy using a logic and reasoning engine called Pacioli that records its output where? On the blockchain. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, blockchain technology is now able to be used to check on traditional companies. Behind me is a list of companies that comprise the S&P 500, S&P 100. In essence, the largest U.S. companies by size. More than one quarter, 29 out of 100, have problems with their reports. Remember, accounting and other corporate systems are garbage in and garbage out. So if there are problems with the data out for these companies, in red here, what does that mean? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There are problems with the data going in. And this was figured out not by accounting or auditing firms and fleets of consultants. This was compiled and reported on by Auditchain's Pacioli validating nodes and took only 5 minutes. It's revolutionary and it's a disruptor technology. Auditchain.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. Once again, thank you to Auditchain for sponsoring our stuff. You can find them at auditchain.finance. If you're on Telegram, search Auditchain Official or Auditchain Trading. And if anyone contacts you from Auditchain saying that there's an airdrop, please know that those are scammers. Couple quick notes before we go into our guest segment here today. Been revamping some of the places where you can watch past episodes. One in the body of however you're watching this, there's a Linktree link, and you can go there and find links not only to the YouTube page, but also to our Vimeo showcase page that has all of the episodes of this, Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked, and some other things on it as well. And I like to note that I've produced a lot of content here. Not all of it good. Plenty of it good and worthwhile, but some of it I look back and like, man, what was I doing 2 years ago? Anyway, so if viewers could, I'd appreciate you sharing these things. And if you're just bored someday and you've gone through the entire Instagram feed, switch over to DYOR Media. Anyway, it's time for our guest today. Our guest, like I was saying earlier in the day or in the show, has been on our show before. And on different topics, but we're going back with the topic of real-world assets because we have to. We have to because the real-world assets are, by definition, well, the real world. And people are using the term off-chain right now to talk about the differences between, to kind of get rid of the stigma of crypto and digital assets not being the real world. People employed in companies, I get it. That we should switch to calling it off-chain assets and things like that. But right now, we're talking about RWA, real-world assets, and the way that those need to get tokenized and the way that ownership of those can get moved to the blockchain, or the way that crypto can be moved off the block or utilized on the blockchain to own real-world assets, things like that. It's a bi-directional access here. And the market is literally in the trillions. I joke about people talk about Bitcoin, their Bitcoin maxis. That's the only thing they talk about. It like it's, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. And the market cap for Bitcoin, while large, is currently only right now about the total value of the real estate in about like lower and midtown Manhattan in New York. And so when you think of like just the value of the real estate in Manhattan just being much larger than the entire Bitcoin market and ecosphere, you kind of put things into perspective and you're like, well, it just means Bitcoin's kind of small right now, but it has a lot of potential. And the truth is it does have a lot of potential, and not just Bitcoin, but any worthwhile crypto product, I should say, or company that can start getting that massive amount of assets the world has into crypto, or crypto into managing the assets of the world. And I use crypto and digital assets interchangeably. But so when you think of the value of stuff out there in the world that can be unlocked and turned into something that's easily traded, the dollar volumes are mind-boggling. And that happens in markets that if you went to any sort of school at all and took any type of economics class, you learn about market inefficient or not efficient. And currently the real estate market right now, and many types of markets for physical assets, is not efficient. There are commodities, corn, oil, gold, platinum, all those types of things, even financial commodities, the futures markets that are very liquid, and they have very long histories of trading these real world assets. Corn is a real world asset. You can take corn and trade it on an exchange. Can you trade your car? Can you trade your $5,000 Omega watch? Can you trade shares in a multi-unit townhome complex? No, you can't. It's still the old school way of doing it. There's lots of money to be made in this, and there's lots of new technology to come to the market to make all of these markets work better. And with that, we have, let's see if I get this right on the first try, my guest Anton Golub, Swiss Asset DAO here. Anton, welcome to the show.
It's a lot, Tom. Really a pleasure to be back again. And I'll take this that we're, at least the shows that I participate are perhaps one of the ones you like, or that are
yes.
very fond of you. And really, I just want to thank you for your support, kindness, and feedback, and having you involved in Swiss Asset DAO as a very strong supporter since the early days. And really delighted to be able to, again, speak to you, and also to address your really large audience that you capture on a day-to-day basis.
I think the live meter says we're at few 100,000 people right now.
I want to make sure I get invited again, so I'm flattering a lot.
I'm having trouble seeing the number. I think it says a few 100,000. But anyway, I want to thank our viewers in YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And once again, if you want to listen to Anton's talk and me talk about this, and you're on your mobile device and you have to multitask, you're not paying for YouTube Premium or LinkedIn Premium where you can keep it in the foreground. Switch on over to Twitch if you have the Twitch app or the LinkedIn app, and you'll be able to watch it in the background while you use your mobile device. Anyway, Anton, welcome to the show. Tell me, what is new in the world of Swiss Asset DAO? What's going on with it? Give us an overview.
Yeah. So in terms of what's happening new with Swiss Asset DAO, I'm delighted to say that in the context of Swiss Asset DAO being a community-driven project, meaning that the community that gathers together and has very strong feelings about Swiss Asset DAO and shows very strong support. The key decision that the community has made, if you want to say it like that, is that formally next week, Swiss Asset DAO will be incorporated in Switzerland as an association, which will give it sound legal background and sound legal framework, which will then enable Swiss Asset DAO to move ahead with its mission and vision, which is to provide safe and secure way and legal way for other DAOs to access the real world assets through investments from their treasury. So really looking forward to that exciting day. If I remember you mentioned that you will also want to be part of that ceremony in one way or the other, perhaps also as a founding member. So really looking excited to that. And I just want to say this is a very important milestone for Swiss Asset DAO to give its legal framework. It's a very technical matter, but extremely, extremely important one in the world where DAOs don't have legal certainty. And we are delighted to address that point and move it forward.
All right. So you give us the background that it's a DAO that's going to provide services and assets for use with other DAOs. Tell us. My viewers tend not to be very technical in nature. I'm working on that, trying to educate them. What does that mean? The DAO is going to form, and what are its first products and services that it'll offer?
Yeah. So maybe to provide a bit of a background context is like, why do DAOs even have a problem? You would think that everything is awesome and amazing. But what you really see in the real world or in practice is that DAOs are these decentralized communities, these decentralized entities that don't really have legal clarity in the real world. Nobody, if you talk to anyone in the real world where the laws, the regulations, and rules apply, if you kind of ask them, hey, but what do we do with these DAOs, or how do we treat them, you realize that everybody doesn't know what to do with them. So you have these big communities. They usually also have a really strong backing. They have large treasuries, so literally hundreds of millions of dollars. They're looking to deploy that capital somewhere, and they're looking for solutions in the real world, where you mentioned, commodities, but U.S. Treasury, but something else. And really, they can't access any of those real world assets. So really what Swiss Asset DAO wants to provide there is create solutions, a product where other DAOs can use the same legal framework to in a safe and secure way access the real world, which would mean even as simple things as getting a bank account, but also maybe something a bit more advanced as being able to invest into US treasuries, as an example. So really, the key product, the key market that we are trying to address is big other DAOs who don't have legal clarity, who want legal clarity, and who want to access the opportunities in the real world.
So if Swiss Asset DAO sets up complete, it's filing its association papers. It gets going. Everything's good. And then a DAO that's set up in Portugal could come to Swiss Asset DAO and say, we would like to use your financial instruments or your services.
Yes.
Under the umbrella of Swiss Asset DAO.
Yes.
And
exactly.
Also, and then, go ahead.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned very vividly, there are two approaches how other DAOs can use Swiss Asset DAO as a product, as a solution. One is that actually they use what we have done as a Swiss Asset DAO as a template for their DAO. Obviously, that would mean that the template would be deployed in Switzerland because Swiss Asset DAO wants to use Switzerland, which provides the most clear and sound legal and regulatory framework for crypto companies or crypto players. So this is one way. And the other way is actually that literally Swiss Asset DAO serves as a plugin for other DAOs. So instead of rebuilding everything from scratch or doing everything in Switzerland and setting up everything in a particular way that Swiss Asset DAO wants to do it, that basically you just plug in your DAO into Swiss Asset DAO and then access the opportunities within the context of real world assets.
It sounds like to me that is by plugging in like that, that instantly increases the liquidity and the size of the market for all DAOs. And it's not that Swiss Asset DAO would be in competition with other ones. It's saying, hey, here, we're a legal avenue in Switzerland. If you want our service, just plug us into yours, just like an extension on your Chrome browser there, huh?
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, you make a great example with the Chrome plugin on our browser plugin. But I would also like maybe something that's maybe a bit more common. It's to people who are not experts in the crypto matters. I mean, the same way when you want to access purchase stocks, it's not like you become a bank or a broker dealer yourself. You don't do that. You open an account with a bank or a broker dealer, and then you purchase stocks. In the same way, is like there is no need for everybody to redo the whole thing again as Swiss Asset DAO is. It's literally, quote unquote, you plug into us, you get that account, and then off you go into the world, to the context of real world assets.
Well, good. All right. So the you said on the, I think it's the 14th or 15th, the association will actually be formed and be legal and be founded, as they say. And then you move into development stage. So what's the next big milestone? What can the community expect to be the next big step for Swiss Asset DAO?
Yeah. So after the incorporation of the association, which will be the legal framework, that will happen on the 15th of August. And with this, thank you very much for mentioning it. I would like to invite people to join this ceremony, which we will. The idea and the goal is to live stream it. So if you want to be a part of it and witness it with your own eyes, or more than just digitally, please feel free to let us know, and we'll provide means to join that. So after we have actually formally incorporated Swiss Asset DAO as an association, the next really step is actually to then find the right regulatory framework how Swiss Asset DAO can itself start accessing the real world assets. And that would actually happen through partners who already have solutions and service providers with the solutions and services within the crypto world. So literally, we're going to talk to, if I can call it like that, banking partners, crypto native banking partners, so crypto native banks. Also in Switzerland, something very specific, it's called the securities firm, so crypto native securities firms, which is equivalent of your broker dealer in other countries,
right?
Which actually then provide the rails how Swiss Asset DAO can then access those opportunities in the real world. And the reason why we're taking this approach is because, again, this is a very specific need that Swiss Asset DAO doesn't need to do itself, but we need to break ground for all the other DAOs and provide kind of those rails. So this would be really then the key next step in terms of the development. And likewise, also two more key goals that we will have to proactively work out at all time, which is building a bigger community that is aware and a partner or a follower or member of Swiss Asset DAO. And likewise, very important goal as well is the funding process for Swiss Asset DAO to really accelerate and scale our growth.
So what is to develop something like this obviously requires getting the smart contracts and the legal structure and paying for all of that. To set up a DAO is doing that something that you got to get millions and millions of dollars of financing, or is this a small targeted niche type thing that other blockchains may help you get started doing?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, ideally it would be millions and millions of dollars flowing into Swiss Asset DAO for development. But objectively, at this stage, there is no economic need to raise tens or millions of dollars for Swiss Asset DAO because it's a very gradual approach. And the one that we want to take at Swiss Asset DAO is actually partner with other blockchain, with other communities, in a sense that, our goal is actually to build the template smart contracts that you mentioned that would enable the governance of Swiss Asset DAO, but also the means to access the real world assets. And for that, we see the most likely and the most promising approach is actually to get a grant from one of the key blockchains. So this is kind of how we want to approach it forward. And then as a next step afterwards, looking forward to seeing all those millions flowing in the next stage.
That would be a good problem to have, as they say.
Yes,
a very good problem to have. So part of the, as I've learned, and as like I tell people, I'm doing these series on real world assets because I'm involved in, with Swiss Asset DAO. Anton, when I asked to be involved, Anton and Michael graciously accepted that and said, "We'll take it, take the help." And so I'm promoting this not just for learning, but also for the benefit of Swiss Asset DAO and all those involved. But when I say all those involved, that means everybody. And a DAO needs a lot of people. It needs a community to really build it and get going. And so, how can people help join the community here? What kind of information are you putting out other than my show here to get to the community members to grow that base and to get them information?
Yeah. So from a context of getting involved in Swiss Asset DAO is actually very practical manner. As Swiss Asset DAO is a community-driven project, we actually have work streams that address the key next steps and challenges for Swiss Asset DAO. So as we have mentioned, one of the key goals that we had achieved and were in the process of doing is actually finding the right legal and regulatory structures for Swiss Asset DAO. And the particular group of people that were supporting us there, for which I highly thank them, was within the context of the legal work stream. So what that means in practice is that every week on Thursday, actually 1 hour after your show, so you can join as well, at 5 p.m. Central European time, we literally had a call where the key people who were very passionate about Swiss Asset DAO, who also have a legal affinity or a legal background or just want to help and learn to Swiss Asset DAO from a legal perspective, would join that call. We would raise, Mike and myself as a key stakeholders of Swiss Asset DAO would raise the key challenges, and then we would have a discussion. And if possible, within the context of that call, we would then make a decision as well. So what really meant when I said that Swiss Asset DAO would be the decision was made to incorporate it within as an association. Literally, that happened at the previous legal work stream call. So this is in a very practical way. Then we have the second work stream, which is called community building work stream, which I am the key driver and the key stakeholder, where we also discuss what are the key challenges in raising more awareness about Swiss Asset DAO and how we can contribute and attribute to that. And finally, the last work stream that we have is with regards to fundraising for Swiss Asset DAO, again, where we discuss the key goals and opportunities how Swiss Asset DAO can get funding for its operation. So in a very practical manner, the way people can most easily get involved is actually to join one of those work streams and be part of the calls. Now, if this is a bit too much for some people or they don't have the time or for whatever reason, the way we also engage with our community is through our newsletter, for which people can sign up through our website, which is swissassetdao.org. They can join our Telegram group, or they can follow us on LinkedIn, which we're very proactive in communicating, in distributing news.
Very, very proactive on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so this is in a nutshell how people can get involved. And maybe finally to mention is there's also an opportunity to join Swiss Asset DAO as a founding member, which already has now a limited time period when to do that. So please, if you have, for whatever reason, you particularly are fond of Swiss Asset DAO and you would like to join Swiss Asset DAO as a founding member, please reach out to you, Tom, or to myself or to Mike or to Swiss Asset DAO.
Well, thank you, Anton. I wanted to, for the viewers live or on replay, to understand that these a DAO, since it's a community organization, it's put together publicly. This is not in secret rooms and then with a stealth launch and nobody knows about it until a big marketing campaign hits. You can participate in the community building work stream and the legal building work stream too by going to the website and finding the links and information about that, which is swissassetdao.org. And you can also go to the Telegram group and ask questions about it, about how you can get involved. And I'll leave the Telegram link in the comments here. But if you're familiar with Telegram, I'm sure you can find the Swiss Asset DAO's TG room from the links on their homepage, or just using that old search button, those types of things.
So I have a couple questions.
Yeah, Pedro, the crypto chart analyst, is here in the background. For the audience, if you got any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll pose them to Anton. Pedro, what do you got for us?
So, excuse me, in relationship to Swiss Asset DAO, is that so? Your home, you live in Switzerland. I'm assuming this.
Yes.
Why did you decide to set it up here? Obviously, it's where you're at, but right now, like, you're kind of setting up the framework and kind of the structure of certain things. You're kind of the lead. Why did you decide to do it there instead of saying, you know what, Dubai, El Salvador, they're welcoming DAOs. They're saying, hey, come over here. Why fight up against that stream versus saying, you know what, let's build over here, and then if we decide to, move over here. So I was just wondering why.
Yeah. So in context of why we decided in particular Switzerland, obviously we did a bit of an analysis in terms of what are the trades off between doing it in Switzerland, in Portugal. You mentioned Dubai, but Abu Dhabi has a specific legal framework for DAOs. In US, for instance, in Wyoming, or why not somewhere else? And we kind of actually looked at three key features when we were looking at where to do it and to make our decisions. And those features were, or attributes or benefits were, sound and clear regulatory framework, especially with regards to crypto companies and crypto projects. The second was strong crypto infrastructure. And the third was actually economic and political stability. So these were kind of the three things we had in mind in a sense of where we want to do DAO, a DAO that enables you to access real world assets. But then obviously the name says why we made this decision. And now kind of when I talk about these attributes, kind of if you reflect on it, Switzerland has the most clear, most sound, and I would say even the most advanced crypto regulatory and legal framework pretty much in the world. And that Switzerland, luckily for the country, was a pioneer in crypto regulatory and legal matters for many, many years. Starting from 2014-15, where actually clearly defined that Bitcoin and Ethereum in its early days, but also Litecoin, were clearly defined as payment instruments, so not different than euro or yen or sterling or dollar. So providing a lot of clarity to everyone involved how you deal with this, companies and people who deal with crypto, but also later on providing a clear guideline for ICOs, if you remember the glory days, 2017-18. Then also actually even enabling and providing licenses to two first ever crypto native banks in the world, which were Signum Bank and Seba Bank, but also likewise later on with the DLT Act, which clearly provided, a lot of clarity with regards to so-called security tokens, utility tokens, market infrastructure, and so on. So this is kind of like the first point. When it comes to the crypto infrastructure itself, I mean, Switzerland has more than 20 crypto-friendly banks. So when you come to Switzerland, it's more like with whom you don't want to work, not who will want to work with you. Same
kind of
goes,
the opposite of the United States.
Exactly. So, and the same goes for custodian, auditors, legal service providers, and so on. So this is kind of like the reason why Switzerland was very attractive when it comes to crypto infrastructure. And the third point is with regards to legal economic stability. Okay, maybe you can argue Switzerland is not the wealthiest country on the planet, or it is. I mean, this is but it's at the top. And likewise, with regards to legal framework, it has its, I think Switzerland is famous for not changing anything for a long time. So I think also it ticks the box here. So I hope this answers Pedro's question. Obviously, it was a trade-off, just really to make it clear. It was a trade-off, and we think we made the right decision. We're absolutely convinced of that. But having said that, Swiss Asset DAO will not end with Swiss DAO template, but the goal is also to extend these solutions and products to other jurisdictions as we kind of break ground in Switzerland.
Well, you got to start. You got to start somewhere, and starting small is always a good idea. But while you said Switzerland may not be a very large country, and especially for those that don't know, that the center of it is near Zurich in a little town called Zug, and it's only the size of my neighborhood here in Chicago. I mean, it's it's not very. It's 30,000 people or so, but it's where Ethereum was formed. It's where that's right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's where many businesses, and in fact, it's developed a name called Crypto Valley because, as most of you know, Switzerland has mountains, and people live on the mountains, but in the valleys. And with lots of crypto companies in one place, they call it Crypto Valley, and it's really getting a lot of traction. It's lots of new innovations and new companies there all the time. Thus, that means they have good regulations and rules for that. And Switzerland has always been a forefront of the banking industry. And while Switzerland has tightened the reins of the banking industry down a lot over the years, they've at least set a level playing field for new products to come about. And that's what's going on here now. So, Pedro, thanks for your question. I don't really have many other questions from the audience today. We've got a lot of viewers on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for everyone watching. YouTube's been tough for me lately, trying to crack that YouTube algorithm. But we've had a couple of you on Twitch. Thank you for watching on Twitch. I appreciate that. The Twitch, you don't get much traction on Twitch unless you've got a hula hoop or you put your feet on the screen. But thankfully, we got some good viewers over there today. Anton, regarding Swiss Asset DAO, we could talk all day about it, but we've only got so much time in the day here. Anything else you want to bring up about Swiss Asset DAO before we go today?
Yeah. So first, I would like to thank you again for having me. Tom, this is really a big support. So really thank you.
You're welcome, Anton.
And really to repeat, please join Swiss Asset DAO. I think we are breaking ground and being very pioneering in a sense how open and transparent we are about what's happening at Swiss Asset DAO, which brings its opportunities, but its challenges. But really what we would like to have you is to get involved in the community, in the work streams. And as well, if you prefer or you would like to be a founding member, please reach out. Now is the right time because after the Swiss Asset DAO is incorporated, that opportunity will be not there anymore. So I really invite you, if you want to join as a founding member, ping us or reach out to Tom, and happy to have you on board from the early days.
Anton, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and talking about it. Like I said, we'll probably have you here on fairly regularly as I get ready for the fall schedule here of interviews. I'm going to have more content, so I hope to have you on more for shorter things, giving updates and creating that social media content that we can blast out there to really crank up the community and get people aware of it. So, Anton, thanks for coming today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom. Really a pleasure.
All right. Have a great day, Anton. Ladies and gentlemen, Swiss Asset DAO.org. Go find them. Go find them. You'll hear a lot more about it from me because I'm helping that organization out. And as I told them, I'm in it for the long haul. I've always enjoyed it. I went to Switzerland for the first time. It was 1985. I know many of the people listening right now are like, wait, did he say 1985? I wasn't even born until, after that. I know, I realize I'm a little older than some of you guys. But I went there, and at the time, it was a little over 2 francs to the dollar. $1 to equal 50 centime, or whatever the little part is of it. and I went and got used my first international Cash Commander card that I could go to the ATM machine, and I got equivalent of $100 US out, and they gave me about like 34 Swiss francs. And lunch was like 15 francs at the time or something like that. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Anyway, for us Americans, thankfully the currency is kind of reversed and it's gotten a little weaker. It's going back up now, I might add. So, I mean, Switzerland's economy is getting stronger versus the U.S. But I've always enjoyed Switzerland, and I've spent some time in Zurich on the Bahnhofstrasse. It's where I've developed my distaste for fondue. And for those of you out there who watch the show a lot, the last time I had Anton on, I had a fondue shirt on that I got in Zurich, or I got in the airport in Zurich. And for those of you that are familiar with the whiskey lounge at in the Senator's Lounge, the International Terminal in Zurich, then you are in a select club. Anyway, I'm looking forward to meeting I have not met the team in person, and I'm looking forward to that happening soon. Some other things going on with me in the show. I'll be, as they say, trolleying back up to Kanukistan, otherwise known as Canada. Here, I'm going to be hitting the Blockchain Futurist Conference, August 15th and 16th. Not sure if I'll be there both days or just one day. We'll be able to take in some new things, and I'll report on a lot of things going on there. I'll be in Toronto for those 2 days, so if any viewers are out there and want to meet me, I'll be at the show. I'll likely be walking around wearing my Striking Ball shirt. So if you want to get together, just hit me up. I was trying to do my live show from that day, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because they can't guarantee me a good internet connection. But the Blockchain Futurist Conference, August 15th through 16th. It's as it says, Canada's largest crypto, Web3, and blockchain event. It is a big deal, and I'm looking forward to going for the first time. Someone had dropped me a question here, and it disappeared. I think my comment system grabbed it here. Nope. Comment system, it disappeared as well. Anyway, if anyone has any other questions, let me know. Thanks to Pedro. Pedro had to run today here. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. He had a hard stop for an appointment. But Pedro's channel, he also broadcasts his technical analysis on here.
Hey, buddy.
Wow. It sounds like Pedro is back. Hey, Pedro. Oh, no, he's gone already.
No, I'm here. I apologize.
That's all right.
I had to step away because I had to take care of something real quick, so I apologize about that. Yeah, that project is so interesting. I absolutely think it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, what got me about Swiss Asset DAO was it being completely legal without any gray area, so it didn't have to start fighting that battle. It could start just developing the product. And then when Anton and Michael and the crew were talking about it being able to plug into other DAOs, and so other DAOs can quickly use the services of them to expand the just the things they offer and the access to other markets. I thought that was like, genius. This is a good plan. So they said they needed help, and I can help in the community building, so that's what I'm doing.
You know, it's interesting. I was thinking about that idea behind, the people who are in, let's say, Abu Dhabi, right? Or are in, El Salvador, wherever, they, even though they're a DAO, they're not necessarily recognized as a DAO around the world, right? And so, whereas his technology could really help is by you establish your DAO, and as a DAO, you come in and you have access to a lot of different parts. So you can now you recognize not just only in one part of the world, but you're almost recognized in pretty much everywhere else, right? As they launch and move and grow their influence.
Yep. Yeah, and I think their influence as other DAOs develop, or even existing ones. I mean, this is something that, maker could just say, hey, yeah, we need access to the Swiss markets in a more legal fashion, and just plug them right in, and all of a sudden you've got an association. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's like a great goal. And if you can make it simple for other people to get access to that market, it's almost a no-brainer, right? And so the concept for me was like, yes, this is a good plan. This is a very good plan. And as I try to spend less time talking about the failings of meme coins and things like that, talking about how the you know what? Let me digress here. Yesterday I had a conversation with someone I met. What was at my sister's house? We were watching the Bruce Springsteen concert from her rooftop. And I met a gentleman there, and I told him that I did this YouTube show in crypto, and he started asking me about prices and of this and prices of that, and he just wanted a little better understanding. I said, forget the prices of everything. I said, that's really irrelevant in the overall crypto market right now. I said, think about it from this way, that there's new technology out here that is taking over how things are done in finance. I said, the prices will sort themselves out in the long run of whatever you invest in. I said, but when new technology comes around, it creates new opportunities. And new opportunities create what? They create new sources of income and new ways of doing things. And there'll be successful companies in that, and there will be unsuccessful companies in that. So he quickly got to grasp it, and he's like, there's a whole bunch of new stuff coming out. Try to pay attention to the market and pick the companies that are successful and invest in them however you can. I said, yes, just ultimately it'll be like the stock market, pick what's doing well. And the prices of individual, he's asking about, well, what do you think about Cardano or Solana and stuff like that? And I said, don't worry about any of that. That's all noise in the mix here. I said, there's, as you know, I look at things fundamentally while you're doing the technical analysis. And it really is a fundamental change in the way things are doing. So let the technology spread and do what it needs to do to change the way things are done. And new companies, new ways of financing, new ways of doing business will come about, and that will bring wealth to people that invest in those types of things. I'm not telling you what to invest in, and just to repeat the disclaimer that was on screen, what Pedro and I talk about is not financial advice, merely giving you a nice little education on how to do your own research.
I think you can just even elaborate on just one point that I think is really interesting. Yes, I'm a chartist, but the reality is that the fundamental aspect of exchange of money is completely changing. And that has kept the freedom of the people always mitigated to, well, we need a form of currency to exchange freedom, right? And that in itself is really, this is how I explain it to friends of mine. I go, you're behooving to the U.S. or the U.S. Constitution, or not the U.S., the U.S. Government printing money and saying that you can do business and interchange this with, or here you can do commerce, and this is the medium that you're going to use, right? We've seen this all the way down to ancient Acadia, Sargon the Great, if he's like real, right? Like they all had their form of, ancient civil, or what is it? And the, crescent fertile land where everything, and the reason I'm going there is because there's been this, the state, whether it's a city government, or a city state, or a megalithic conglomeration that we have with the UN, right? Not the UN, excuse me. Well, yeah, the UN, but other
I
forms.
Got your point.
Yeah, they've all had a medium of exchange that was governed by an elite. Whereas here, the fundamental aspect is giving people the freedom to be able to decide, I want to do, and I want to use this, and I don't have to go through a medium to be able to do this. It's now me and you if we want to do this. And that in itself brings freedom. And I tell people this. I go, this is the fundamental change. This is the fundamental change that is coming. And it's already like growing like weeds. So sooner or later, those weeds are going to grow into trees, and it's just how I see it as that. So
Yep. I agree with you completely, and I take it one step further to say, why should we be beholden to a government telling us you can only transact with somebody in this method so we can track it? I mean,
Yep.
the basic concept of finance has
Tribute.
nothing to do with government. It has nothing to do with your government. Finance is what people do, and government stepped into finance just to stop the scams when the banks were failing, and people were robbing banks, and the banks didn't have enough liquidity to make it up. So the federal government set up a level playing field to just make sure all the banks work well. And finance works great that way. What happens as we see over and over and over with any government organization is the term mission creep, where today they do A, tomorrow they do B, tomorrow they do C. Suddenly they're doing the whole alphabet just because it made sense to make, in their mind, to do one more step. Or if we could just do a little bit more, we'd have more data. If we could do a little bit more, we could have more. It's not necessarily nefarious. There's some nefarious people in the government. But just that process of mission creep, all of a sudden, people in the government are talking about, yeah, let's have a CBDC, and then we can track everything. The data we can get from that would be amazing. We can adjust the economy almost instantly. Yeah, all that is good concept. That's a great sound concept of being able to get that micro level data on how the economy is running so you can change your policy. However, the other side of that equation is that the government sees everything and then suddenly is able to control everything, which is bad. Finance is independent of the government, and in the U.S., we never gave the U.S. government the right to control finance. We gave them the right to oversee the banking industry to make sure there's a level playing field, and we gave them the right to issue the currency. That's it. That's all we gave them. We didn't give them the right to do everything else, or the ability, I should say. The people in the states retain those rights. And if the government tries to expand that, we're going to have a constitutional fight on our hands for that, because it doesn't work. When the government is involved in something directly, it doesn't work well. It becomes, as the economist said, like I said in the beginning of the show, an inefficient market. And if you have an inefficient market in finance, other countries will wipe their butts with you.
You said the origination of the U.S. was literally, we're pissed off at the British, stop taxing us. And not just, okay, we don't even mind paying taxes, but without representation is really what's pissing us off. And then you're coming over here and hurting our kids and trying to take land that's not yours, that we're done with this. Like, that was literally the point. Yeah, like literally, we just got tired of it. We just said, down in Boston, over in Connecticut, like they just got pissed off and they said, get out, we're done with you. Like New York, like we it's time to scrap. So like that's what happened, right? And again, I call it tribute, because ultimately we set up our system to stop paying tribute to the king, which stems all the way back. And so this is all coming to hit the point that you said. When our founding fathers set up our nation, they set it up in two ways. One, you are a personal entity here in America. You're not a part of the government. The government's here to serve you. Two, that we're going to fight central banks, because that's how they destroyed all the rest of the world at that time in the 1700s. This is real. Now we're right back in it. We're literally, it's literally, the central government is taking over, and when we pay taxes, we pay tribute. We pay taxes. I mean, this has been going on since city states.
Yep.
Anyways,
I agree completely.
I'm not saying that's the same people who are doing it, but it's it's a brilliant idea. Hey, let's set up a government so we can get paid for the rest of for all of our posterity if we grow this big enough.
Oh,
it sounds crazy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you this week. We had a good show. Once again, I'm going to be appearing at the Blockchain Futurist Conference. I say that like I'm speaking at or appearing at. I'm just going to be attending it as a. I got some media passes for it, so I'll be there. If you're in Toronto and want to meet up, let me know. And maybe we'll record a bit or two for a future episode of DYOR Live, or even if something bad happens, rugged, ruined, and wrecked. So Pedro, thank you very much for joining in today. Thank you to Anton Golub, Swiss Asset DAO, and to everybody else. Thank you to everyone that commented on LinkedIn. We had a nice crowd there today. I appreciate it. To Sabrina and Anna and Wouter, I don't know how to pronounce your name correctly. And to everyone else that commented, and/or there's a couple of you that sent me some private messages on things to ask. I appreciate that. Appreciate the interaction, and that's how you build a channel, a brand, and a community. So thank everybody for that. The show's going on long enough. So Pedro, I'll be off tomorrow. I'll be traveling back up to Canada, so I will let you know the schedule, and we will see you next week.
Yeah. Yes, I look forward to it, man. It's gonna be a fun time. And again, just to throw this out, one thing, just make sure that, like, if I start to go and just, ramble on about things, because I typically will do that about, you can always interrupt. Just throwing that out.
Well, sometimes I've got something to do here. Like I need to type a comment here to everybody. Thank you, everyone, for participating. And it's good when you ramble on during that. But anyway, for myself, for Anton, and for Pedro Garcia, thank you, everybody, and I will see you next week.
Later, brother.